I'm back. Good morning. It is the moment. I'm so happy to be here. Here's a recommendation that I have. Everybody take one day off from something that you love, but you do all the time, and then come back and like the energy you will have for it. Like today I walked in and I was like, I am so excited to do the show. Not that I'm always excited, but I'm extra caffeinated today.
No, I'm really excited. We missed you.
I missed you, but you know what? I did watch every single second of the last one, and I loved watching the show.
Oh,
Jeffrey is such a cupcake.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
He's the best. We had a lot of fun and we missed you a lot and we talked about you a lot. And we're glad that you're back. Much like my savior, you have risen.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It is Good Friday today. And
Happy Good Friday.
Thank you. Well, we're not really supposed to
we don't
say that.
Say that.
Yeah. We don't say that, but I say it.
Okay.
So I think it's okay. And you're
Happy Easter Eve.
Or Easter weekend.
Happy Easter weekend.
You're supposed to wear red today for the blood of Jesus. Yeah, that's right, folks. So I was like, you know what? Because I feel like I'm a Catholic who's like not in on all of it.
Sure.
I went with this.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
And it's Passover.
It is Passover. Yeah. I am a bad girl and did not do a Seder, but I do love Passover. It's actually probably my favorite of the holidays.
Mm-hmm. How come?
It sort of has, it's the best because it's a great holiday. It has the storytelling.
Okay.
It has like the food that you're used to. It's very inclusive. Like, have you ever been to a Seder?
Of course.
Okay, yeah. And so you have the littlest kid at the table gets a question and the oldest people.
What's the question again?
Why is this night different from all other nights?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
And I think Seder is a good one. And I think it's sort of a timeless story. And I think part of what I love about being Jewish is so much of the culture is about like, what do we think about this? And what about this? And like, it's a lot of dissecting. Like the joke is like a rabbi's never, unlike other religions, like a rabbi is never going to tell you what to think. They'll be like, well, what do you think? That's like a big part.
Right.
And so I feel like sitting around every year and talking about a story in the new context of the world is always good and important. And even though I didn't do a Seder this year because I just didn't, I couldn't love it more. And I love my Jews, I love my Catholics, my friends. But
I just realized I forgot to go live on Instagram. So I think there's probably
dozens.
seven people waiting for us.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to tell the audience.
Yeah, what's going on today?
Okay, so yesterday we were like, there was rumblings around that Pam Bondi was about to get fired, and we were like, maybe we'll talk about, maybe we didn't, we won't, and then boom, Donald Trump fired Pam Bondi. This is after he's fired Kristi Noem. So we're going to talk about the women that are in the line of fire of Trump and how this all goes down. Then we have Touch Grass podcast host Milly Tamarez, who's going to come and talk to us all about the drama over at Summer House. And you had a very special perspective. You wanted to ask specifically about the dynamics of Black women on reality television here because there's some of that in the mix of the Summer House. So we're really excited to talk to Milly. And then we're joined by Representative Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts, who is also a veteran. And we're going to talk to him about that weirdo Trump address that happened on Wednesday and what's going on in Iran. So we got a lot to get into today and like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so like I said, Pam Bondi is out at the head of DOJ. Trump announced her firing on Truth Social as per usual. His former personal attorney turned Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is taking her place for the time being. There's different conversations about who might replace her. But also Pam Bondi is still slated to testify in front of Congress on the 14th. This is her in front of the Epstein survivors during her last congressional hearing. She refused to acknowledge them. On Tuesday, we're going to have Jess Michaels, who's in this picture, to talk to us about this. But I'm curious, now that she's out, what that is going to be like. Like she's no longer representing the Trump organization. Of course, this is the second firing in, just a couple of weeks. Kristi Noem got fired from her head at DHS and is replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen. And what I'm noticing is a trend. It's women in the cabinet who have some sort of, blow up, some sort of fumble of their organization. They go to testify.
But wait, can we just say their fumble is really, I mean, it is a fumble, but it's really to keep Trump happy.
Yeah.
So it's like everything. It's not like, oh my God, I made this huge mistake and like my boss is going to be pissed. It's like, no, it's like everything that they're like the things that Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi have been doing have been to keep Trump happy, but because they're bad things, then it comes back to them. So like, I will also add
that's
that.
a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah. And I think what made me so interested in this is, I remember actually we were talking to Tracy Gilchrist about this when Kristi Noem got fired from DHS. I was like, do you think Pam Bondi is next? And she was like, yeah, the women who put themselves in the line of fire for, quote unquote, the patriarchy. Up there he is. They get fired. They get in there first. And Trump has, he did this. Elise Stefanik got this sort of treatment. She was supposed to be the U.S. ambassador. Then she got out. He was supposed to endorse her for governor. He didn't, of New York. Yeah. So what did you think when you saw this?
I mean, I guess here's the thing. To quote Wendy Williams, clap if you think she should suffer. Because this is the thing. She's not going to, yes, she's going to go and be whatever. But she's going to go to the private sector now. Yeah. She's going to be fine. And that's what actually pisses me off. In a way, I'd rather we kept her around. So, because I don't think she'll suffer the same ramifications if she's not in office. So I'm just sort of like, at this point, I'm like, you know what? The way that my life's going, why don't I get a job in the Trump administration? I do it for 8 months. I'm blonde enough to get fired. and then I go get a nice cushy job in the private sector. That sounds that's the American dream.
It's the American dream, baby. Yeah. So there were also rumblings in The Guardian yesterday that he's polling his advisors as to whether to pull this for Tulsi Gabbard next. Yeah. You're on notice, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm curious actually what Representative Auchincloss thinks, who might be next, because I've heard people be like Kash Patel, but I think it's the women. He made a joke about Caroline Leavitt not doing a good enough job because he has 97% bad press. And I was like, ooh, Caroline's about to get that maternity leave boot over there too.
And there's no HR. So you can't I mean, I'm sure there's HR in the White House doing a
bang up job.
Yeah, exactly. But what I mean is Caroline can't go, I think you fired me because I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a really bad look for him to fire a pregnant woman.
That's true. I know. That's a good point.
Actually, my whole goal is to get Caroline to flip, and that could do it, because it's if you fire the pregnant woman.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, definitely one to watch. I also think it's funny seeing what happens afterwards. We're about to transfer to Summer House, but nothing is more Bravo than the Daily Mail reporting that Kristi Noem, who was recently ousted's husband, is into bimboification and has the big ol' boobies. This is not to Bryon, go off, hunty, wear them titties, do whatever you want. But wild that these people spend all of their time dictating what other people can do, no women in sports, and then this is what happens. And I'm curious, now that Pam Bondi is out, are we going to see her significant others?
You want to see his tits?
Yeah, show them titties.
We're gonna get banned from TikTok Live for this one. Yeah. That's the other reason I was nervous to talk about this, because I was like, oh, it's a lot of tits.
Yeah, well,
Oh, well, let's talk a little bit about Summer House. Okay,
let's do it.
So everyone is talking about Summer House, and I'm going to be the first one to say that I don't know enough about it.
Yep.
And it's not because I think I'm above it, okay? I don't think I'm above pretty much anything. So when people are like, oh, you don't watch it? Oh, because you think you're above. No, I'm fucking below it. That's the thing, you guys.
I'm tired is what I am.
I'm rewatching a reality show called Rich Girls from MTV on my phone at 11 p.m. at night to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
No, but I know exactly. I watched the same thing over. That's
yeah, it was Allie Hilfiger.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh my God.
Yes, of course I remember.
It was so good. It's still so good. It was so good. Anyway, we should have Jamie, who was on the show.
I remember
her on here. But anyway, we thought we'd bring in an expert. my friend Milly Tamarez is the host of the Go Touch Grass podcast, and she is going to help us break down some of this summer house drama, because it's not just like a cheating scandal. It's also really, for me, about the way that Black women are portrayed on reality TV. So do we have my friend Milly?
Yes, I'm here. First of all, hi. Hello. I have so many thoughts. So first I want to address you saying, rich girls, you are a psychopath, Meredith, because that whole first season, or one season, was about this girl really trying to lose her virginity at prom and like trying to set up perfect circumstances for that. And it didn't work out. And I'm like, oh, I can't watch this. So you're
wait,
crazy.
now I'm remembering. Wow.
Yeah, she went to prom with like a 40-year-old man, and she was like, I want to have sex. And he was like, I don't think so. Like, it actually was like, when people say not all men, they were really talking about this man.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So earlier you guys talked about Pam Bondi, and that is the perfect transition to this summer house drama with male-centered women. Hello, we have Amanda Batula. Okay. So what, and just, is this about a cheating scandal? Is this about, like, it's good to think about, first of all, if you want to weigh into reality TV, it's just good second screen TV. Like, you're on your phone, you're playing phone games, you're knitting, you're doing you're half asleep. That's what this is for. Summer house specifically.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. So Real Housewives, Salt Lake City, it's not second screen. You got to be locked in. So much is happening.
Yeah.
Summer house, no. The whole show will be like a conversation, but good second screen. Anyway, so basically what's happened is Ciara is, beautiful. And Ciara. So we have Ciara, West, and Amanda. And Ciara is, she's an ICU nurse. She's incredibly successful. She's so beautiful and smart. And, Bravo, she's always in this role of like getting exoticized, not being taken seriously, not with men that commit, whatever. So she had a thing with West, who joined like 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago. He like kind of led her on and basically was like, and it's again, what's happening here, we call it on Go Touch Grass a 5-alarm fire discourse. So just so you know, it's so loaded, whatever. If reality TV is like literature, where we're all talking about the dynamics of society by this stupid second screen thing, that's what's going on here. So anyway, Ciara and West used to date and hook up, and like this is so loaded because this is the plight of many millennial women, Gen Z women. It's like a guy who like likes you and says that you guys are so meant to be, but he's just not ready, which means exactly. You guys know what time it is. And so depending on what, we got a lot of crazy things, right? So if you're in Pacific Northwest, the guy will manipulate you into polyamory. But if you're in the East Coast, the guy will be like, I like you, but I'm not ready, but I want you around, whatever. So
wow, you blew my mind. That is the discourse in a nutshell.
That is the discourse. So anyway, basically, so he, West, like, dumps Ciara because he's not ready, puts out a New York Times hit piece about like how he wasn't even that into her, wasn't that serious, embarrasses her, whatever. She talks about like, you embarrassed me. There's like racial implications. So like a white guy like rejecting me in such a public way. Anyway,
Times? I mean, come on.
Oh, he put it out in the New York Times. And then when she's like, what the fuck? He was like, so whatever, right? Anyway, her good friend, her best friend on the show is Amanda. Amanda's married to Kyle. And over this season, we're seeing the dissolution of their marriage. Like the last episode, Kyle calls her like a bitch in front of everybody. And it's like so shocking. And Wes stands up for her and all this stuff. But what people are talking about is, so then now it comes out that Amanda and West have been secretly dating for a long time. Because so there have been rumors on Dumois for a long time, and then they put out a joint we statement. They're like, we've seen the growing thing, like we're coming out as a unit. So it's crazy, right? This woman her last joint statement, Amanda Batula's last joint statement was 2 months ago when she announced her divorce. 2 months later, she's announcing with her best friend's ex that she's whatever. So back to, I know I'm dropping, but it's a lot of lore. I feel like we're not up to date.
Helpful. No, this is all working.
This is all helpful. So basically, here's what the conversation is, right? This white guy gets this bit, and you see this black woman on TV talk about these guys on these shows. They don't take me seriously. I'm just an experience. I'm just for fun. I'm not someone that they can really commit to. And then you see that kind of like in West's dating history. There was another woman who's a Latina who's like, he's really nice until you fall in love with him and he can't be serious and whatever. But then to put out a we statement with a white girl, like is, that like now he's publicly claiming
together. Are they like actually, or is it like a situationship?
Well,
girlfriend?
So here's what's happening. Great question, Meredith. They put out that we statement. It assumes that they're together. Then all the other women are coming out on Dumois, all this stuff. And it's like evidence that he's had a whole girlfriend in Chicago and she wore a tie and he wore that tie and Watch What Happens Live. And then another girl in LA and then another girl. So that's probably, so in a way, it's like, this is probably his worst nightmare of like having to publicly claim anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're right. It's giving Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, Trump. It's like white women who are like, oh, I'll align with this guy. This is going to go well for me. I'm going to publicly come out and put my reputation on the line. And suddenly that guy is like, well, I mean, it wasn't that serious,
And the sad thing is like, just like I was listening to the New York Times thing, like a lot of Pam Bondi's stuff was self-inflicted. She didn't have to go that hard. And with Amanda Batula, she was getting the Ariana Madix treatment. She was going to be the divorcee. She was in the cut. Everyone was like, yeah, you're heel girl. And even within the Bravo fandom, there was like, guys, she married a shitty guy. Like, she's mad at him for like, what he always purported to be. He never said he was going to be like not cheating on her, not embarrassing her, not talking to her like shit. Like, so why are we giving her that treatment? But yet still she was getting that and like completely squashed now because she was fucking her best friend's ex. Ugh, you hate to see it.
Well, I'm so glad that we got this whole recap because we really needed it. And if you could hope for one thing for Ciara to come out of all of this, Milly, what would it be?
Okay, so Rihanna is a huge fan of all Bravo, and Rihanna unfollowed Amanda. But then Dumois said that Rihanna now there's like rumors that Rihanna is setting up Ciara with Michael B. Jordan.
Ooh. And I thought you were going to say Fenty. She's gorgeous.
No. She should get a Fenty thing. That's just like already period. But we're talking about like if Ciara comes out with an A-lister boyfriend, like the Jordan Woods situation. This is really like a Jordan Woods situation all over again. But guess what? Jordan Woods, happy in love, married to a basketball or football player. That's what Ciara needs. That's what I wish for her.
Well, Milly, we'll have to have you back because you really broke down that discourse.
I wish that for you, Milly. I hope that that's your next move.
Michael B. Jordan, if you're watching the moment.
Huge fan.
Huge
fan of the moment.
In every Tuesday live.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming by, Milly. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Okay, I think we got it.
I love that.
Our next guest is going to know absolutely nothing about Summer House, and that's why I'm so excited to see him.
Yeah, Representative Jake Auchincloss, who's been listening in the green room, representing Massachusetts 4th District. He serves on the House and Energy Commerce Committee. He's a Harvard and MIT Sloan alum. We have a lot of MIT Sloan alums here.
We do.
He's a Marine veteran who commanded infantry in Afghanistan and counter narcotics ops in Panama. He's our millennial congressman here to talk to us about all things Iran, all things Summer House. Representative Jake Auchincloss, do we have you in the room?
You have me, and you're right. I understood know of those words that were just spoken.
We're going to have to ask you to recap what happened on Summer House now.
Backstage, I was just like, what is this conversation about right now? But I can definitely talk about Iran, so hopefully I can be useful in some capacity.
Definitely yeah. You can educate us in a different way. Okay, let's start. I watched the Trump address on Wednesday night. It was the first time he sort of formally, we hear from Trump all the time, but it was the first time he did that sort of like, I'm walking to the podium and I'm standing here. And what I got out of that address was nothing. I don't know what's going on. I truly left that and I was like, are we escalating? Are we done? And so I wonder, first of all, what was your main takeaway and why now?
Agreed. An absolute waste of time to listen to the president, which is such a shameful thing to have to say about the state of American public affairs. I don't say that as a Democrat and because he's a Republican. I want it to be the case that when the president of the United States talks to the American public about war, that it's something serious. And unfortunately, it was lies and gaslighting. And it reveals that there's strategic incoherence within the administration about the last 4 weeks of warfare, which have collectively left Iran undeterred, have made everyone in the world poorer except for Vladimir Putin, which have empowered China and which have made NATO weaker. This president is going to be the first president in American history to single-handedly start and lose a war by himself.
Did you get the sense, like, is boots on the ground on the table? You've served in Middle East wars. I really couldn't tell whether he was like, this is happening or not happening. Did you, as somebody who has like perhaps a spidey sense for this, get a sense?
Yes, I think it's very much on the table. In fact, my concern is that he's indeed leaning towards that. There are 50,000 Marines and paratroopers deployed right now to the Middle East. To give people a sense of scale, that's about what we had in the build-up to the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Now, right now, these Marines and paratroopers are on boats. They are relatively secure, but I am concerned that he is going to ask them to seize the shoreline and the islands around the Strait of Hormuz. And I think it's worth just backing up a step and asking ourselves why the president is dialing 911 in this capacity. Before this war, we were in a scenario where NATO, Congress, this administration, there was broad recognition that Iran is a bad actor. Iran funds terrorism. Iran lobbies ballistic missiles against Israel and other of its enemies in the region. And there was concern that Iran was going to develop a nuclear weapon. And the reason why that nuclear weapon development program is such a concern is not so much that Iran was going to immediately deploy that nuclear weapon, but because it would be a deterrent. It would prevent our Gulf allies, Israel, America, Europe, from making sure that Iran wouldn't try to fund proxy terror forces or launch ballistic missiles. And an analogy here would have been North Korea, right? North Korea developed a nuclear program, and it's made it a lot harder to now control North Korea's bad behavior in other ways because they have this huge deterrent. What this president has managed to do with his incompetence is he has not set back Iran's nuclear program in any meaningful way. And indeed, they weren't all that close to being able to weaponize a nuclear program. He has given them a new strategic deterrent in the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is this narrow transit way that Iran is adjacent to, and 20% of the world's oil transit through it, and there's not really a good alternative. And what Iran has done in the last 4 weeks is they've laid mines and drones throughout that strait, and they're able to toll it and to deny passage to countries. And what that means is we're in an energy shock now in the world. We have given the Ayatollah the whip hand over global energy markets, and now they don't need a nuclear bomb. They have a deterrent over our energy markets. And so we've actually gone backwards in terms of strategic readiness.
Yeah, I was listening this morning to a report about just the gas prices of it all, right? And I mean, when it hits people at their wallet, I think that's where things really start to change. So I'd be curious to know, as you're around the Hill and you may, chat with a colleague from across the aisle, which y'all do, are they concerned right now at all about the midterms and not getting reelected just on the basis of the economy and their alignment with Trump?
Yes, and it's crystallizing right now in what's called a reconciliation bill. A reconciliation bill is when one party, which is in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, tries to ram through party line tax and spending provisions that circumvent bipartisan mechanisms in Congress. So Democrats did it a couple years ago. We did it for our clean energy proposals. Republicans did it last year for tax and Medicaid cuts, and they're gearing up to do it again. And what this bill is likely to contain is really two things. One would be 3 years of more funding for ICE, no strings attached, no reforms, and then hundreds of billions of dollars for this war in Iran. And I think it's important to connect in the American imagination these two policies, which can feel separate, right? Immigration enforcement with national security. I don't think they are actually separate. I think a paramilitary at home that undermines civil liberties and military adventurism abroad are linked together in a out-of-control president who sees violence as the only lever of policy, whether at home or abroad.
Do you think I'm making a pivot here.
Yes.
Tulsi Gabbard was the one who said, I actually don't think Iran has the nuclear weapon, and I think that probably did not sit well with Trump. We saw him fire Pam Bondi this week. We've seen him fire Kristi Noem. Do you think to that end that Tulsi Gabbard might be next on the line?
Yes, although I think she's already irrelevant within the administration. In fact, I don't think she's ever been relevant. She's not taken seriously by anybody in Congress. And I don't know that I think he was trolling the American public when he appointed her. I don't think she was a serious pick. Whereas somebody like RFK, somebody like Hegseth, somebody like Rubio are picks that I think Trump attempted to actually kind of work his policy through. I think she's always been a little bit of a sideshow. Doesn't mean that it's acceptable, right? She's the director of national intelligence. What's astounding is that even someone like her, a conspiracy theorist, she's closer to reality than he is. It's just worth noting where the actual nuclear program is at. Iran definitely wants a nuclear bomb, definitely unacceptable, I think, for global security, but they actually are not near breakout. So last year in what was called the 12 Days War, America buried their nuclear facility underneath a mountain with one surgical strike. And I actually supported it. I thought that made the world safer for the Ayatollah to not have a nuclear bomb. The enriched uranium is now on the loose, though. No one knows where it's at exactly. But it's a lot of steps to take enriched uranium and actually make it to a bomb. You got to metallicize it. You got to add it to the end of a ballistic missile. And they're not, with air dominance that we had over them, they weren't going to be able to do that in any kind of breakout speed. And now, fast forward 4 weeks of war, we still don't know where the enriched uranium is, and they still can't put it on the end of a ballistic missile. So I'm not exactly sure what this was meant to accomplish, except giving them, as I said earlier, a different way to deter adversaries through their control over the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah. This is a tough. I want to do a little future casting here because I keep hearing people say this is February 2020. And even within his speech,
God help me if it's February 2020. Jesus.
Yeah, can we not do 2020 again?
Okay, well, so aligned, agreed. Even in the speech, he did the thing that he did during COVID, which was he was and like a miracle in 3 weeks. I heard this line and I was I traveled back in time, right? And he was and like a miracle, the Strait of Hormuz will open. And so, like I said, I've heard 2020. Where do you think this goes in the next month or two? I know it's tough to future cast with this presidency, but
yeah. I'll give two scenarios. I don't want to fully commit to one because it's so unpredictable. Scenario one is he deploys the United States Marines and paratroopers. They're going to take the shoreline in these islands. I mean, these Marines, they don't fail missions. They're going to do it if the commander-in-chief tells them to. But then they require resupply and reinforcement 15 to 30 days after deployment, and we are stuck in a boots-on-the-ground quagmire. And it really starts to rhyme with Vietnam in 64 and 65, where you got a president saying, shit, I got guys here and I got to send more guys. That's scenario one. I just implore my Republican colleagues in Congress to help me prevent that from happening. Just show us a modicum of spine. Scenario two is, I think, basically the president backs down. He leaves the United States weaker than before because we have ceded control over the Strait of Hormuz. But functionally, it's the bomb stop dropping, and Iran has some agreement to allow ships to transit the strait, but everyone kind of knows that they can close it again if they want to. That's, to me, the more likely scenario. But let's be clear, we will have lost the war if that is the conclusion. Regrettably, that is probably the best of bad scenarios at this point.
Yeah, like a war that we started with no real impetus. We're just sort of like went in and we're like, oh, oops, bye.
Well, and also too, it's like the money of it all, right? Like I'm paying $600 a month right now for health insurance, and it's like good, not great. And so when I see that we are going to be dumping more money, like, yes, more money into ICE and like more money, I would love to hear from you, Representative Auchincloss. What are you actually hearing from your constituents back in Massachusetts? Like, what are their pain points right now? Because you also serve a very large immigrant population.
True.
I do serve a large immigrant population, Ecuadorian, Iranian, actually, a large Iranian diaspora, Portuguese, Chinese, and obviously every immigrant community that I speak with are going to have individual issues, whether it's with visas, whether it's diaspora issues. But it's actually remarkable, and I would say really motivating to me as an American policymaker, how common are the key issues. And the key issues really are, people say, regardless of how I got to this country, regardless of how I'm building my career, what I really want is I want my kids to be able to go to school and to feel like they're American, to feel like their prospects in this country are a function of their talent, their work ethic, their character, and not a function of their bloodlines or of the soil upon which their grandparents were born. And I just find that such a deeply American aspiration, and it's one that J.D. Vance rejects fundamentally. He thinks that this country is not predicated on that idea. And it's an area that I think Democrats need to seize going into 26 and 28. We are the party of constitutional patriotism. I'm so sick of these Republican lawmakers claiming that they own the flag. They do not own the flag. Democrats need to be the party of patriotism.
Well, that brings up a really interesting point, because I'd love are you allowed to speculate on this? Is this against the rules? I don't know. I'm going to ask, what do you think is going to happen with this Supreme Court decision on birthright citizenship?
I think they're going to reject the Trump administration's approach to birthright citizenship. Legally, I mean, you would have to torture the 14th Amendment and torture 150 years worth of jurisprudence to find against birthright citizenship. Now, obviously, the Heritage Foundation and other conservative outfits are trying to do that. I'm skeptical. Now, to be fair, I would also have been skeptical 10 years ago that they could have tortured the Second Amendment to make it legal to buy an AR-15 at Walmart. But here we are. So, we should have some skepticism of the Supreme Court's willingness to abide by the Bill of Rights and by the Constitution. But I think it's very unlikely they're going to support this administration on it.
It was so weird to see him go to the Supreme Court. Like, what an odd week in America. One other question that I have is, the shutdown quietly ended this week. I feel like in the news, that went away. DHS got funded, but not ICE, or rather it got funded, but with no ICE reforms. Do I understand this correctly?
That's what happened in the alternative universe of Congress being somewhat competent. That is not the universe in which we are living. So the Senate, by a unanimous vote, which, like, you find me an issue where Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders agree, right? By a unanimous vote in the Senate was like, hey, America, we really don't agree on ICE, but there's 20 other agencies within the Department of Homeland Security, things like Coast Guard and TSA agents and cybersecurity professionals. And we think that we should fund them while we debate ICE. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. Sure. And House Democrats were like, yes, let's do it right now. And House Republicans said, no, absolutely not. This week, so they threw it out. So we did not do it. Right. And then this week, Speaker Johnson was like, just kidding. I actually do want to do it. But they haven't gotten their act together to actually get it passed. So I'm not putting my chips in the basket of the House GOP actually being able to do DHS funding. But certainly Democrats are here to fund the Coast Guard and TS. Like, that's not our fight. We want these guys to get paid.
This feels to me like a place where Democrats kind of finally won a shutdown. What do you think?
I give us a B, to be candid with you. Let me tell you why. It is true that we are, the House GOP is sort of debating against itself publicly, and I think has really divorced itself from the American mainstream on particularly on ICE issues, where Americans are like, yeah, we want border security. No, we don't want you doing dragnet operations in Minneapolis and barging into people's houses without a warrant. But we haven't gotten the ICE reforms that we want. Right. And it's been 2 months now, and Democrats have not gotten the ICE reforms. And I think we had more leverage 2 months ago for a series of political reasons that is bleeding away. Mm-hmm. And I'm frustrated by that. And I think we really got to stiffen our party's backbone to make clear that, we're the party of border security. We believe in reasonable interior immigration enforcement, because you do have to have a secure border. But we are not going to terrorize immigrant communities, and we are going to demand that the masks come off and the body cameras go on.
Isn't it so funny when they were at the airport, they didn't have masks on? And I was like, that's the one place you should wear a mask. Like, oh my God. You know? Yeah.
Okay, speaking of airports, you're on spring break. Lindsey Graham is in Disney World. You know, Cory Booker, TMZ got him in LA. Where are you going for spring break with your kids?
Well, we can't ask him that. He's going to get dogs.
He's going to get TMZ.
No,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The good news is I'm in my district. I represent 35 cities and towns, and I've spent this last week and will spend this next week with the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you were on spring break and you were at Newton North, is that where you went?
I did, yeah.
Okay. If it was spring break at Newton North, where could we have caught you back in the day, Representative Auchincloss?
Montreal.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
We would rent a bus and go up to Montreal. Yeah.
Hell
right.
yeah.
You
Oh my
heard
God.
it
Remember
here,
that? That
Carney.
was like a real thing. Like
Yeah.
in
The
and
fun
people would be like,
bus, do you remember?
or people would be like, oh, you guys, we got to go up to Montreal this week.
Yeah.
I wonder if the kids are still doing that. If not, guys, do it, but be
Highly
safe.
recommend.
Be safe. Representative Auchincloss, remind people where they can find you on the internet.
At Jake Auch on Twitter, and then on my Substack, Simple But Not Easy.
Simple but not easy. That's
Love that for you.
good. Future book title.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
Bye. He's always a delight.
Montreal, baby.
Montreal.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Je suis le grand musée.
Do you remember those ads?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Of
Phew. I
course.
mean, like, you actually speak French. I was saying that for like, I don't know, probably 20 some odd years. And then like one time I met a French person and he was like, "You're the little girl." And I was like, I have no idea. I've just been saying
was
it.
once.
I've just been saying it. Okay. My mom wasn't going to buy me Muzzy. She knew better.
She's like, this is never going to happen.
Learn French. I barely learned Spanish.
Yeah. I barely learned English.
Anyway, that was so always great to have Representative Auchincloss.
Yeah. I feel like we were like throwing out, we're like, and what about this? And what about that? It's such a mess out there. It's hard not to be like, what's going on? But he has like a good handle on it.
What do you think his favorite ride at Disney World would be if he went to Disney World?
Hall of Presidents.
Okay, I feel like I could see him really getting down with Big Thunder Mountain.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know. We've been talking about Disney like a lot on our
I wish we
personal
were
threads.
sponsored by them. We're willing. I know it's a capitalistic. What's your favorite ride at Disney World?
Oh, Space Mountain.
Oh, Lindsey Graham went on it twice.
I know. This is the one thing Lindsey Graham and I have two things in common. Space Mountain, and we're both attracted to men.
Oh my God.
No,
it's true. It's very true. Space Mountain is a great ride. I do love Space Mountain.
How about you? What's your favorite?
God, that's such a good question. I would say my favorite ride, I do love Splash Mountain.
Oh yeah, Splash Mountain's fun.
Splash Mountain's a good one.
Which is now, I think, Tiana's Bayou.
Yes, but I guess they changed the name too. It's good. I've been on the new one because I went to Disney World last year. Yes. I'm not a Disney adult. I'm an adult who likes Disney. Okay. Big fucking difference.
Big difference.
No, but I did go on a new ride called Tron. Have you?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. So Tron is crazy because you basically like, it must be sponsored by Peloton because you basically lay down on like a what?
I don't know. Gabby's yelling in the booth.
Gabby's
has opinions
never
on
been
Tron.
to Disney World, so I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. But you basically like lay down on a thing and you like it's like having yes, it is a movie. Yeah. But it's called Tron, but it's a ride. And you lay down on a thing like almost like a bike like this. And wow, it is I will tell you really quickly. One time I was at Disney World with my family, and back in the day on Tower of Terror,
I do love Tower of Terror.
Oh, this is Tron. That's Tron. Okay. Isn't that insane?
Wow. I guess I haven't been to Disney since I was.
Oh, no. This is very new. This is like last year and a half. Anyway,
Yeah.
there was a guy on Tower of Terror, and back in the day, I don't think they have it anymore, but everybody had I don't know, like a bar or whatever, but there was one seat that had a seatbelt, and he was in line with us, and he was like, "I just want to announce that I like the seatbelt seat, and so if anybody else wants it on this ride, feel free to go ahead of me, and I'll wait for one where nobody wants it." And we were all like, "Yeah, you can have it." And then we got on it and he sat down and my uncle was like, oh, you really like the seatbelt. He was like, there's rides and then there's rides.
Wow, that's a great quote.
I know.
There's rides and then there's rides. Okay.
You love the seatbelt. So anyway, that's how I know we have been talking about Disney a lot. Sorry guys. This just became a Disneyland.
Disneyland, yeah.
Rebecca, what's having a moment for you?
You know, I was thinking about it and the truth is it's just Bryon Noem is having
you
a
like
moment for
that?
me.
That's
I don't know. It's just such a wild story that like this came out. It's just for all of the harm they've done to the trans, non-binary, like anybody in the queer community, really, for it to come out that this is his kink. And like, again, do what you want, Bryon. Like I could not care less in any other world except that you upheld this administration that feels so strongly about this thing. And I just like, I see this and I'm like, it's always a projection.
Yeah.
It's always, you know, like I was listening to the show on Tuesday and like trans people and people who like to dress in different clothes and it is not actually on the political spectrum. It's on the political spectrum how we adjudicate the rights of those people. But like trans people exist in Republican spaces, in Democrat spaces for all of time. And, you know, Bryon, I hope that this is an opportunity to like break out and live your most expressed self in life. What's having a moment for you?
Well, wait, I just want to add to that. Like, it reminds me of in the conversation from Tuesday's show, we talked about State Senator Jim Guthrie, my new best friend.
Yep.
Who's a Republican and voted against the bathroom bill in Idaho and went against his party. And he's voted against some other stuff in Idaho. He also voted against some stuff that I think did pass, but that makes teachers disclose to parents about pronouns.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, sided with Democrats, and everyone's mad at him. Like, but
that's you're doing something right and with integrity if the people who you generally align with disagree. You know, like I feel like, and that's a good thing. You know.
It is a good thing, except for when I said I didn't like that Kristen Wiig show on Apple TV. People were like, "How dare you say that?"
I didn't really like it.
I know it was terrible. Jim Guthrie. But when I talked on Tuesday about that, what Scott Scott Turner Schofield, who was one of our guests, said, "Yeah, that's a Republican."
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's
right.
And that's what I think this goes back to.
You know, it's funny. I had that thought when Representative Auchincloss was on and he was like, we are the constitutional Democrats. I was like, wow, that's so Republican coded. That's like 90s Republican coded to be, you know, like that was the Republican Party to be like, we believe in the Constitution. And
yeah, some people were mad at me yesterday because I said that Amy Coney Barrett is a Constitution queen, but she is. Like, I'm not saying that I agree with her interpretation of it, but she does come back. Like, that's how she's going to justify the 14th Amendment.
100%.
Like, it's not going to, like, she thinks that document is
the beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, well, she wasn't when it came to this. And I'm like, right. But like, 14th Amendment, she's gonna
14th Amendment's hard one to get around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
pretty
anyway,
explicit.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll show you what's having a moment for me. Vienna has the clip.
Says there will not be a female president in her lifetime. And I say, thank God. I hope there's not a female president in my lifetime.
Why would you say that?
You know what many people are saying, Jessica? Many people are saying, do women have the...
You are just jumping off a cliff just because you're bored.
Emotional maturity to
You are just bored.
Many people are saying, do they have the personal contacts in the business world to manage the economy? Many people are saying, Greg, do women have the respect of the generals?
Who said that?
Many people are saying women don't have the sense of humor to be president. I've heard that from a lot of people. None of those things I believe.
Many people are his Reddit thread that he leads.
Wow.
Also, too, it's like he's like, oh, I'm never going to see a woman president. And he's like, and thank God for that. And then he's like, but I don't believe these things.
Well, also like the paragon of emotional maturity, Jesse Waters, you know, like, wow, okay.
I think it's just like, he's doing the same thing that Trump does.
Yes.
A lot of people
A lot
are
of people
talking
are
about.
saying, yeah.
A lot of people are saying it, and then people start like. I get that.
Yeah.
Like part of you could look at that clip and go, "Oh, he's just like he's sort of kidding. Everyone's laughing." But the problem is there are too many people who like don't fact check Facebook, who watch things on Facebook, and then they just watch that and they're like, "Yeah, a woman couldn't be president." Also, too, like Jesse, what are you? What's Jesse clocking in at? 65?
No, he's younger than that. But what I will say to end this show.
No,
is,
I want to finish just one
you got
part.
okay, go.
I just want to say one thing.
Go.
How many more presidents do you think he has left in him?
Oh, good point. I mean, how many presidents do any of us have left? And at this point, I mean, like,
if
Trump
you
could be the last one.
Two, like, and I don't like Republican, Democrat, but a re-election, he's 47. Ooh, that's, you know what? I'm not even going to say it because God, all my comments lately are just about my looks, which you guys, I got my chin done yesterday, so fuck off. But how many more presidents do any of us have left in us?
How many?
Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Well, America, many people are saying that The Moment is the greatest show that's ever been on the internet. Many people are saying it's the most important show to watch. Many are saying, actually, it's the most popular show on the internet. And if you aren't watching it, you're really not up on all of like the politics, cultural gossip. Like many people are saying Rebecca and Meredith are the most important political commentators of their generation. So many people are saying.
I don't disagree. I think I've seen people saying that.
Yeah, many are saying.
Yeah,
my dad
saying that.
Bye!
All right, guys. Bye.